All right, everybody, welcome in to Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin, episode 16.
We's kind of reversed here. I don't.
That's right.
Yeah.
The primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share our thoughts and opinions. When we have proof and evidence on the topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or any comments or actions based on the material we talk about on this podcast. This podcast is for private, non commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at Real Talk at Spoon and Puddin
Mm.
or Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin at gmail.com. Right there.
All right.
What's going
So,
on, Puddin?
another day. I know you're tired, but
Yep. Sleepy,
uh,
sleepy.
so there you go, baby. Oh, so which one you want to talk about first? You want to talk about my request or your request that we got?
You go ahead and talk. You go ahead and talk.
Well, you want to put it on screen so everybody can see it?
You can't do it?
I can do it. No, I can do it. There it
Yeah.
is. Okay. So this is my request from Portland. I received Hillary's request, filed on 6-3. Fluoride percentages in the water with all additives list in Portland, Tennessee water supply. Fortunately, I am unable to provide the percentage of fluoride in our water since we do not track our chemical feed rates in a percentage format. I can provide a list of chemicals additives, but requested those chemical additives are listed below. So there they are. So the one that really catches my eye is number 3. I can't even hardly hydrofluorosilicate. I don't even understand it. Okay, that's what they call their fluoride, and then there's the material safety data sheet. Understand it? So if y'all didn't, if you don't want to go do the research, we did it, or I did it. So there's the MSDS on that. So basically, like I said, I re-requested the question and rephrased it to ask them. Um, Basically, what's the parts per million? I want to see some tests, certified tests, to find out how many parts per million. Um, so literally, what makes me most mad about that is the fact that I mean, look at me, I got a well, but if I'm in town and I sent you the links, did you look at it,
Yeah,
Spoon?
but make that more plain as day for people. He's talking about fluoride in your water.
That's the chemical code for the fluoride that Portland adds. So that's the material safety data. It says danger, poison. Um,
Avoid contact with skin, eyes, mouth, and clothing. Avoid breathing fumes or vapor. Do not intake internally. Warning: danger, poison. But let's add that to the water supply for the city.
well, no, let's take the city's budget. Let's buy that, and then let's spend money on that to put it in the water.
Yeah,
No, so there's the first piece of change. If this is going to be Spoon and Puddin talking about local city governments, well, I mean, like I said, I would, and this could go. I don't, it'd be nice if people in say Bowling Green or Franklin or any town on here. Why don't you request and ask your city what do they put fluoride in the water, and if they do, find out what kind.
and how many parts per million?
Well, requested in parts per million, or because you can see they clearly didn't answer my question.
But but they're going to tell you that fluoride is good for you, right?
Well, they're gonna use the normal logic of, well, we add it because teeth. Uh, okay, all right. So again, I'll revert back to one of my most common arguments. When when your little one paints your toenails, do you drink your nail polish remover to get it off, or do you apply it directly?
Have to apply it directly.
All right. Now the other argument is poor people. There's a Dollar Tree, and I believe you can get what 2 to 4 toothbrushes for $1, and then toothpaste for $1.
Well, we've had discussions not only between ourselves but with other people, and the big rich cities do
Do
not put
not.
they do not put fluoride in the water.
The
These,
people refuse. They'll fight them.
but these small towns and small communities, they try to claim, well, it's made up by mostly poor people, so we need to add fluoride to the water so that the kids are getting the proper fluoride for their teeth because their parents don't have enough money to make sure they go to the dentist.
There's already fluoride out there. It's some read last night, or was it yesterday? He was talking about there's some areas in New Mexico that have real high fluoride content just naturally. There's nothing you can do about it. In certain areas.
But water already has a certain concentrate of fluoride in it naturally.
A little bit. Some places probably less than others, but
Right.
again, if you choose to use fluoride, well, okay, that's a personal choice.
Exactly.
Uh, you shouldn't force it on people, and you shouldn't do it, especially in nefarious ways. A friend of mine told me that down in Lawrence County, I think, where he lives, because I talked to him Friday night about this for a few minutes. He was telling me that Tennessee law requires a city to post a sign somewheres on a road if they add fluoride. I didn't know that. He never sent me the picture, or I would have put it up on screen. But he said it's in his town. He found it. It's on a little no-name road heading outside of town where they post that we add fluoride to this municipality's water supply. And I was like, there's no reason for it. It's an easy argument to defeat. You shouldn't take any extra in. I don't care who you are. I mean, just look at that. I mean, purposefully added to the water supply here in Portland. Maybe Bowling Green, maybe Franklin, maybe I don't know, but usually the richer areas where people have uh, funds and can do chemical tests on their water, they don't.
I'm gonna request Gallatin and Hendersonville and White House and see what those three local connected cities.
Well, according to our buddy over there, he the one that kind of, well, I mean, we talked about this, back in 2019 when I was talking to him. He he said you're gonna have to sneak the test. You're gonna have to get a sample and then take a test, and he said it's about $1,500 to do a proper investigation test to actually find the true parts per million where cities can't dispute it. He said you can buy little tests, but they're like $50 a test, which is why richer neighborhoods where people who have means and don't want to drink a poison and want it out of tape, not purpose. I mean, again, it's purposefully put in there. But basically, what he was saying about it is in places like that, where they have more money, they'll do tests. The people pay somebody to come out and take samples of the water from different locations and compare them, and then they'll have a certified test. That's what I want to get from our city, but I would suggest other people get it from your city, because the argument, did you read where I sent you about where it started in Germany in the 1930s? That's what they call their fluoride. Did you see it? Did you see it?
Did I say what? Yeah, I'm sorry.
That link I sent you about the origins of it?
Yeah.
Read it.
And here's the other things on this. Not only of the, you want to talk about some of the health.
You go ahead. I mean, you got an issue. I mean, we can't. I couldn't find a direct correlation to your
Well,
skin issue.
well, it also states there it can cause variations of skin disorders, right? And I suffer, and it's only been the last 5 or 6 years that it's uh, became a problem is plaque psoriasis, and I have to take injections every other week, and it may have to increase, but I'll have to do that for the rest of my life because there's no cure. All you can do is treat it and try to keep it under control and not get inflamed. And then I have to use creams also because I have it a little bit everywhere. And I had it real bad. If you look at this elbow here, you can see this big patch here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this used to be scaled over the whole thing, but you can notice there's two smaller ones coming back that are scaled over. We fought and fought and fought and finally got the scale off the big one and some of the other places, but it keeps coming back like a scale person, and you have to, and it itches and it burns and it hurts it down to your bones if you don't maintain and treat it.
Avoid contact with skin. I don't know. Let me just read that again. So,
Do we know
I
that
mean,
that's the reason? No, but
no.
it's sure not helping the situation.
Oh yes, I would say more pure water could help. I mean, there's plenty of things that can inflame that, as I found online. Doing some research on psoriasis. Yes, there's a lot of things, and apparently your was it uh, beta blockers, for high blood pressure,
Yeah.
can inflame it too. Again, you can't prove it, but it's not helping. Adding that, and it's something the city spends money on top of that. It's like, why? Just
Well,
take it out.
well, you know what? When we take it to the mayor and the council, you know what they're going to say, and I know what the mayor's going to say. Well, we've always done it that way, and,
No,
and
you
I've
have. It didn't always get done. Let's go back to the origins. Which, if you read that, it started in the 1930s in Germany.
yeah,
Who who was
that's what
in
the
party then?
that's what Hitler and the Nazis give
Hitler.
to the
Oh, come on!
Jews.
Don't use the cop out. You know, if it's got dark, dirty origins like that, kind of hard to defend it.
What it destroys neurological function.
Yes, it's a
It, it,
neurological toxin.
it
Actually,
destroys brain cells.
again,
And
I can't speak for that chemical compound. I mean, other than looking at the material safety data sheet, it's like still a chemical composition makeup, to do research on. But I'm sure there's different ones. Um, there were the man we were speaking of who started this argument or started this topic, who basically, he was looking it up too, and he said there's two more than one way to spell it, so it's hard to figure it out. But I mean, I don't know, like Franklin, Kentucky could use more. Bowling Green might use a different brand or something. His next suggestion was to request, which is since someone overslept last Monday. Oh, no comment. No comment, Spoon.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uh huh. He said to request who manufactures the fluoride and what's the country of origin. Because I did find it was an American company that made some of that. A certain brand. I think it was Hawkins manufactured a certain brand of it. But he said you ought to check the country of origin for the manufacturer of what's added to this city's water. So we focus on this city first. But anybody else out there, if you take the time, you can do it yourselves. Go, you know, you should push your little, you know, push your little buddy up there in Franklin to get requests done for his city, huh?
Well, I'll have to get somebody.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice to know. There's what what makes me mad about it is, I used to buy drinks or something. I stopped. I have stopped. I tried my best not to, and it sucks. I mean, hey, well, look, I did buy some drinks at Dunkin' Donuts there in Portland, and then I'm drinking fluoride unintentionally. I mean, we do need to get Gallatin and White House and Hendersonville.
Well, it would be curious to see all these smaller communities that are connected to us. I would I would be willing to bet money that I doesn't have that. Hendersonville doesn't add fluoride to their water, right?
You think they don't?
I wouldn't think they did, but until we get the results back, we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I would say towns like Westmoreland and Portland, sure. I'm not so sure White House does, but
According to our buddy, they do. He
White House
doesn't
does.
know. That's what he said. He still got his filters on, and there are some filter systems that'll remove it, but I don't. The more you spend, the better results you're going to get. But no, it would be nice if we could affect some change in that department because it'll if it messes with neurological function, what it's doing is making you kind of dumb.
What
It's
that was what the initial intent was, right?
that was the initial intent to shave some IQ points off so you'd follow orders, especially in the ghettos in Germany in the 1930s. They didn't really want people to question their authority. But I'm pretty sure that their Fuhrer there was wasn't drinking it. What do you reckon? You reckon his water tap had it in the supply?
Yeah. He was probably drinking that Fiji water. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well. But no, that was my main topic for today. I know you said you're tired, so I'm gonna let you go to your topic, which
Which that'll tie into my topic, right? Because
well, it's an expense, an
there's
unnecessary, unneeded expense, and it's argued on the basis of poor people's teeth health. And in this day and age, when $2, or even if Dollar Tree is $1.25, or going to $1.50, 2.50, 3.50, will get you a couple months supply of all the fluoride and brushes you need to apply it directly where it's needed instead of taking it internally and messing with your bodily functions.
all right. Well, the first one I'm going to put up here is because I requested the amount of money that the city owes, uh, and what loans we have out and who we have them out through. And if you'll see here, they have 2 on this first week. They have 2 loans paid off, but they still have 1, 2, 3 through farmers that they noted, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through First Horizon. Some of them say First Tennessee, First Horizon. They're the same bank. They're just different.
No,
Different.
I thought they were different.
No, they're the same bank.
When they merged.
Capital Bank, First Tennessee bought Capital Bank, and which is First Horizon's a version of First Tennessee. I don't see Ball State on here. I know we have money through Ball State. I don't know why it's not listed on here. I
I
would
don't
say
know. Well, I mean, the bonds. I don't know. That
that
was the. You sure it's not there in the bonds, or
it might be the bonds where Ball State is, but the rest of these line items are, they're labeled who they're through. If you move on to, let's see, is it this one? No, it's not that one.
see, I only seen the one sheet. I don't. See, that's the only one I seen. Was that one with the writing on it and who's the?
That's the only one you've seen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you go, I don't even know if I got this one on there. It should have. No, I think it's this one. Yeah,
We
it's
got a
this one.
cockpit error.
This one. It's this one right here.
Buckle up for turbulence, cockpit error. Oh, there he goes. Okay, he's done clicked his button. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you go. Charlie, come on. Come back to us. I haven't seen this, so I can't speak on it.
Okay. All right. Well, I pulled this up because if you go down, it's going to show you. I can't zoom in for y'all. I'm sorry. Maybe y'all
All right.
can
If you
zoom
got
this
a
up.
TV or pause it, maybe you can spread zoom or something.
But we're paying money, all right, through the end of fiscal year. No, not even fiscal year. Outstanding through 6/30 of 21. So this is a year old now. So it's not going to include any money that's been borrowed in the last year. And they just approved last month to borrow another $6 million. We're $41,189.95, right? So you're almost $42 million in debt for the city
Before
before the last year. We're not even counting the last year. And we have loans that stretched out to the year 2046. So that means if you're a parent who has an adult kid and they're going to have a grandchild this year, your grandchild will be graduated from high school, working a real job, paying off some of these loans along with what you've been paying for the next 20 years. The reason we're bringing all this up is because last month the mayor and the council put out the first reading of the 2022 budget, right?
mm-hmm.
And they told the half truth of we have a balanced budget with a $4 million surplus. And we're not saying he's lying. We're just telling you, they're telling you the half truth, right? Because without the money they borrowed in the last year and the extra $6 million that they agreed to last month, because they need, they need 2 new fire trucks. One's going to cost 1.8 million. The other one's going to cost 900,000. So they're going to borrow that money. So they're telling everybody in the first reading, and then in the next meeting they're going to have the second reading where they tell everybody
I
that
don't know. Spoon.
that they have a balanced budget and they have $4 million in surplus, which is half true. All right, if they have that balanced budget and they have a surplus.
If they take in no more money and buy nothing else, how long is that $4 million going to last them? What, year, 2 years? It's borrowed money anyway.
Yeah, I would say right now, at the end of this month, it's going to be a year from the date of this information of 6/30/22. I would say the city is probably $50 million in debt and loans.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be more than that. I'm comfortable saying that because I got paperwork right here from a year ago saying we're $42 million in debt, right? That's not including any money we borrowed this year. It's not including the $6 million that they agreed last month they're going to borrow. So right now we know the payments are stretched out to the year 2046.
No.
And on some of these small ones, it's to 2050. All right. Most of them are done and gone by the year 2045. And then you got a few of them. I'll have to pull up this page for y'all. It's this one right here. These are some of the smaller ones that stretches out to 2050. Like I said, you'll have to zoom in. I don't know how to zoom in and show you, but
You probably have to do it before we put it on the sidebar.
Yeah. So,
Um,
and the interest rate on a lot of these loans, which, yeah, you can say it's not much. It's
3. I was noticing 3% and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's anywhere from 2.17% all the way up to 3.78%. And I think that's about the highest of 3.78%, which is good. That
that's a
interest
low
rate,
interest rate, but
it's low interest rate. But when you owe that much money, 1% of $42 million is a lot of money, right?
no, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Pocket change.
What's a few thousand? What's a few thousand between friends?
Yeah, well, it's taxpayer money, and they don't have to worry about it. You know,
The
it's
the
fine.
the problem amplifies on scale, though. It's municipalities, then back to the states, which is most likely most states are unbalanced and running in the red,
Yeah,
and then
this is not uncommon. I'm sure
oh no,
every city
has
is
that.
it. They have debt and they're in the red. But I think it's alarming that a small town that we are, as of
Would it
last year, would be $42 million in debt, and then they
take
keep borrowing.
take the state bank idea? Imagine if the state bank was collecting that 3% instead of Bank FU or Horizon
Or Vol State.
or any of them. Imagine
Yeah,
if the state was if the city's extra funds had to go back to the state and go into the general treasury. Wouldn't that be a positive feedback loop instead of a negative feedback loop?
yeah,
You know, just just some thoughts out there.
and
You know,
and and I want you. And another thing I want to hit on the last election we had, uh, going on 4 years ago, that they tried to, and it was voted down by the people. The half a cent city tax rate, right? You pay
people,
that.
yeah, because
You pay that in White House, the 2.75. In Portland, you're paying the 2.25, right? Uh,
mm-hmm.
I think Gallatin has voted to raise theirs. So Portland tried to get it voted in last election, and they're going to do everything they can to get it on this election. So would the half a cent tax help the city? Sure, it would. The problem I have with that is when they
When you're
misuse.
monthly paying 3 to 4% in interest to a private organization, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm getting at. You got the minimum of $42 million in debt that you're paying 3.5% interest on every month. Uh, you're you're misappropriating funds. Um, you're not cutting corners. You're not cutting cost. You just keep spending and spending and spending. And what do they do when they keep spending? They always come to the people with their hands out. They
We
need to
need
raise
more
the
money.
taxes. They need more money. They need to raise taxes. They need more money. And I made this statement to another gentleman in this town. I said, you could have $1 billion and hand it to this mayor and this council and this city, and in 4 years they would have to come back to you with their hands out and tell you they need more money.
Mm-hmm.
You could give them $5 billion. They would spend. They're still going to spend more, right? And it's not just this
Why?
town.
Why aren't they putting in like a reverse osmosis, getting some of those chemicals out of the water? We
I don't think the people realize that Portland is in such disarray when it comes to the water, right?
mhm.
We've been fined so many
Well,
times with the water, but yet we won a drinking water contest between like five little water
yeah,
districts, right?
that was hysterical. Honestly, some of the comments were great. I mean, those were funny. If we're in the five best in the state, I hate to be. I'm sorry for the other people.
Well, it wasn't five best of the state. It was just five smaller ones. It was like Lebanon, Lagardo, and some of those. It was just
The
five or six.
comments, the comments was, I don't know where they're what do they do? Send them bottled water. My water tastes like ass. They sent in Fiji water for the test and the comparison, right?
But we can make fun. I'm being serious here. Uh, we've our cities had so many problems with the water, and they're still having problems with the water. And then the last council meeting, if y'all watched, they
we,
finally admitted to the problems they're having, but and wanting to sign a contract with the city of White House to get guaranteed water flow over here because back in I don't want to misspeak here, but I think it was back in 2005, 2007, somewhere in there. We got fined by the state, and we got in some trouble because they dammed up uh, West Drakes Creek to still water flow, right?
It did?
Yeah, over Drake's Creek runs over
Yeah.
behind where the
No, I
lake
know
is.
where you like to swim.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about, it runs in behind the lake and the water plant and all that. So back then they dammed
Eddie
it up.
Eddie Murphy stops on the bridge and goes, "Rear ho!"
but they were still in water from the creek, which is fine. But they were doing it in a manner that you can't do, right? Uh,
Hmm.
and they're gonna get money. They're gonna get water from that creek again. But as the mayor talked about, I hope they're gonna do it the right way this time. They're gonna take the water from an abnormal level, right? Once it rises and it gets above what the normal level is, and they can pull water off of it, run off from that way instead of taking water out below normal. Um, that's just a
Very
small amount of the issues with the water system up here. We got old meters and you got old lines and you got too small of lines. And
But
there's so many.
we should buy $3 million in fire engines when you have two fully stacked fire stations in this town
We,
already.
all I hear every meeting is we need more fire trucks, we need more firefighters, we need more police officers. And the
More
last time
police
I checked, we
equipment.
had 37, 37 officers in this small town, and they only have 6 at one time on a shift.
6. Well, what? How's that work? I mean, how many shifts they got?
Well, you got rotating
You got
shifts,
6
right?
shifts? Okay, well, why not just go to 12 hour?
They're on 12 hours,
Okay, 2 on, 2 off, 3 on,
but
2 off.
I would say they probably have 4 shifts.
You could change the schedule with what you currently have and have an abundance of officers if that's the case. You could work it like your job, you know, 12 hours, 4 shifts, 2 on, 2 off.
Trying to
I mean,
find that.
literally, that's the reason that you even like your job because you get, every 2 weeks you get 7 days off.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I'm still there.
Yeah, you
Is
probably went somewhere else if it wasn't for all your time off.
I'm trying to find that picture. I don't know what I
And
did with it.
with most things, with
Oh,
most
here it
things,
is.
you could probably people who like overtime. There's plenty of that, most likely. So what are you trying to get?
I'm gonna send another picture to put up.
Oh, I
But anyway, this city has a big, real issue uh, in the water department as far as getting water to the people, uh, getting clean water to the people, having enough water. Because our water system is so far out of date, right? And then you got about 4 times the population of what it was originally set up for, and the
it's
city
stretched. It's stretched thin, but
it's stretched beyond thin, and the city has been very slow to respond over the years and through the time to keep up with it, right? And it's kind of like the interstate system. Anybody that's ever drove in Nashville, who likes it? Because they're about 30 or 40 years behind what they really should be. Uh, just like 65 going from
well, they're
the
they're
state
they're
line.
updating it. They're updating it out there.
Right. They
Finally,
finally are, but that should have been done 25 years ago.
I don't know if it should have been done that long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Kentucky has one major city.
Hmm.
Kentucky has one major city.
What?
One major city.
What?
Louisville.
What?
Yes. All the what other big city does Louisville have?
Louisville is well. I mean, hell, you could even split Louisville in half with Jeffersonville.
That's what I'm saying. They have one major city.
But you got Lexington, you got
What's like
Owensboro,
Lexington's the
Paducah.
size Lexington's the size of Murfreesboro?
What?
Yeah, it's not that big.
Oh, I think Lexington is.
But
Lexington's
it's
pretty
but it
big.
but it's way over there, right?
Right. Is it like Tennessee? No.
The,
Tennessee has Knoxville, Memphis, Nashville. Yes.
right. And the amount of flow of the traffic and the population.
Yeah, but there's a lot of up Cincinnati. If half of Cincinnati falls down to Florence, Kentucky, you kind of got to count it a little bit.
But what you're talking about, like 65 from the state line of Kentucky up through Bowling Green up to
Yeah,
Louisville,
they've
right?
got they've three laned it pretty much the whole
Okay.
way
But what is between the state
between
line of
Louisville and
Kentucky?
Nashville. Yeah.
What's between the state line of Kentucky and Louisville? Virtually nothing, right? It's little small
Bowling Green,
towns.
Bowling
Okay.
Green, E Town.
All right. And Bowling Green is not even as big as Murfreesboro, right?
No, I would agree with you there.
Okay.
Well,
So
I don't know. It depends on your metric.
I mean it's probably pretty close, but what I'm saying is Kentucky is had that done for what?
No, maybe a decade.
A
Well, not
decade.
not the whole way.
Not the whole way, but pretty we'll say pretty close to a
They've been
decade.
working on it for the last decade in areas.
They had some of the three lanes done 30 years ago. And in the last 10 years, they've got it all done. And their population and the size of their cities and the cars on the road is probably half or less than what Tennessee is.
I don't know. I mean, Kentucky's got a lot of industry up there.
Well, yeah, I didn't say they didn't. But
Tennessee's growing, but the interstate isn't growing to handle the
all right,
call.
so from Portland to Nashville or Portland to Bowling Green, how much traffic do you think goes south to Nashville compared to north to Bowling
Oh,
Green?
2-1, I'd imagine.
Or White House to Nashville? Or so that's what I'm saying. You got a 2-lane interstate that should have been done 25 years ago to 3 lanes with the population that flow because there's so many people that live Portland, Cross Plains, White House, Ridgetop, all that area that goes south to Nashville to work.
Mm-hmm.
How many people from Nashville come to Portland to work or come to White House to work? Very,
Some
very,
do. I,
very,
well, I
very
wouldn't say they all do, but I would say some do.
some do, sure, but it's probably 5-1. One's going south and coming north, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more than that. So just like the interstates that are behind, or our city roads, everybody complains about our roads in town that need paving and all that, and they'll tell you they don't have the money, but they're going to buy that $1.8 million fire engine and that $900,000 fire engine, but they ain't got no money, right?
It's borrowed money. And I'm not, like I said, I understand, but you got to think about the amplified negative feedback loop of the money that's being siphoned off by the loaners.
Well, right.
They're guaranteed making money now, and they're making money off of the taxpayers.
And the whatever town you want to pick and whatever mayor and board you want to pick that have to make these decisions, right? It's a tough spot. But my point is, don't come with your hands out to the people because you're 20 or 30 years behind on what the city should be, right? And you're $42 million in debt. All right. The people didn't do that. The people in charge running the city did that.
No, if you go to your list, they did it. What? That's 2 decades ago. Some of that debt.
Yes. That's not just your. That's not.
2003 debt.
Yeah, this is not your current mayor and
No, it's all of
boards.
them combined, and they're making
Yes.
the problem worse.
Yeah. I was trying to see here what was the furthest back of some of the debt.
I thought I seen 2003 was some of the most.
But you're going to be stretching money out to the year 2046 on most, and 2050 on some of the others. I mean, it's amazing that your roads are so far behind, your water system so far behind, even your sewer system needs upgrades, your water lines needs upgrade. I live about a mile and a half, if that, directly behind Mapco, right on Tyler Ford.
You're not a councilman, vice mayor,
And I have no, I don't,
producer in Mitchellville who doesn't want to put in a septic system.
I don't have access to our city septic system or our city sewer system, right? So you're telling me
It's got to go. It's got to be moved to Mitchellville so that Drew Jennings doesn't have to purchase septic systems.
It's been in Mitchellville since 1999.
With the septic?
Yeah, they have sewer lines.
You said they were moving it. They voted recently to move it up there where he's got.
No, that was for extra taps for the houses, new houses they had coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've had the sewer lines that they bought and paid and ran in '99. But that's what I'm getting at. So 23 years ago, Mitchellville, who's not even a part of this city, has access to our sewer system. But I've been living in the same place for 11 years, which is pretty much directly in the center of town.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to pay city taxes, county taxes, and I don't have access to the sewer in my own town. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm not blaming just this current mayor and board. We had Mayor Wilbur for 13 years. You don't think that he didn't have a part in this, and the mayor before him and the board before him, and it's not just them. It's all the city employees who waste money, who misappropriate funds. They need to be held more of accountable for our money, right? Because that fire engine is the people's fire engine. That cop car is the people's cop car. That building that they reside in at City Hall is the people's building. That's not their building. I know everybody, they probably don't care, and they don't want to listen to it, and they don't have to worry about it. And the people that really work for us want to act like they don't work for us, and they're not paid with taxpayer money. But the fact is, they are.
How often do you see those fire trucks getting out, being used? I mean, do you think? I can say
I hear a lot,
Well, I'm saying, they may go out and be used a couple times a day, but does everyone in the city turn on their tap every day? Probably.
Oh yeah.
Put some fluoride in their system, which they get the pleasure of buying it. They charge you to buy your own poison. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Pretty much.
But something that everyone in town needs on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I get what I get what you're saying, and I agree with you to a certain extent.
Well, I mean, I'm saying I agree to an extent. You want the fluoride? I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking about the fire trucks. Yeah, Yeah, do we need fire trucks? Sure. But can we patch up some of the other ones and make them last for another 5 years so we can do the upgrades that benefit the whole population of this town? Probably so. I'm sure we could dig in. Same thing with the police. Do we need more cop cars? I'm sure we probably might need a few cop cars, some equipment. Can we dig in and patch it up for another 5 years and save money there so that because here's the trend that I see. We always get new fire equipment. We got two new fire halls, right? That the taxpayers pay for.
Oh yeah, they don't even come to me.
We get new police cars. We always get all that. But when it comes to the water lines and the sewer lines, we're 30 or 40 years behind, right? I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. You pay city taxes, but we're going to let Mitchellville have their sewer lines for the last 23 years, and you're going to have to wait another 23 years to see if you get yours. Does anybody see a problem with that? I'm not the only one. The whole stretch here. No. I live 8/10 of a mile, if you measure it, off of South Russell. South Russell has sewer lines. All right.
I mean, you already have an infrastructure to get rid of it. It's too bad you can't tap a well somewhere there and just unplug from them. Then you wouldn't have to worry about the fluoride issue or the other chemicals, which I couldn't. I mean, they're not good, but like the Thornfos or whatever, number 4, I couldn't find any material safety data sheet on that. So I don't.
Was there any lithium?
No, there was
in it?
no lithium.
No lithium.
No, I didn't go into details on the contents of the additives, but no, they didn't list lithium, straight out.
Well, we
Which
need
is
to get all of
another neurological chemical
yeah.
if you ingest it.
We need to get all our ducks in a row and get all of our paperwork and evidence to back us up, so we can go to the meeting and get in front of them.
Like Friday when I received the letter, I fired another request right back asking for not just a list of what's put in, because I asked for the percentages. I guess I need to rephrase the question. Say, what's the parts per million, and where's your batches, and where's your sources, et cetera, et cetera. But my point was, and even our mutual friend who, talks about this, Latimer, he said, if he pees on the east side of a lake and you drink water out of the east side of the lake, are you drinking his pee? And I was like, well, depends on the time frame. If it's immediate, if it's you're peeing and I'm drinking, no. But but you're still drinking out of like somebody pissed in, so it's kind of like there again. If you're adding the fluoride on the east side of the lake and taking your samples out of the west side of the lake, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you're lying, right? You're cheating the system.
Well, if according to him, I think he did test. I've asked him if he did test. Can we get the paperwork? Because he was concerned about it back in like 18, I think, and he was raising the question. But according to him, the parts per million that's currently in the water that he found, if you went and tried to purchase that, let me see. If you went and tried to purchase this chemical and told someone you wanted your children to bathe in it, they would probably arrest you for child abuse and say you're trying to kill your children. But it's okay, and we're supposed to just shut up and say, all right, well, pump it in the water. We don't have our flow rate. Flow rate? Well, what was I asking? What's the parts per millions? I had to just try to send another FOIA request and say, no wiggle room. Give me results, public and independent, if you have them, of certified tests showing the parts per million and the source where it came from.
But even with that comment, we don't have our flow rate. Do you believe that?
Flow rate? Well, no, it's a ridiculous statement.
But I'm saying they run water to over 13,000 people in the city limits, right? Mm-hmm. And the water extends outside the city limits. So they run that much water to that many people, and they don't have their flow rate. Yes,
they should. I think they should have an estimate. Well, we estimate it to be between 2 to 10. I mean, I don't know what the. Again, there's more research need to be done on what's the safe levels of fluoride. And to me, I would say if it's not naturally in the water, don't put it in there.
If anything you add to it would be too much.
You're increasing it. No matter what, you're increasing it. Why increase it? There's no reason to boost it.
It's chlorine.
If you want to buy your fire truck, save some money in fluoride. Stop buying it. Don't add it.
In the chlorine, is there any?
They got a 0.08% disinfectant. There it is. This Carousel, which doesn't seem too great. This Delpac 2020, a coagulant. Then you got your fluoride. I couldn't find anything on this Thornfos 2000, this corrosion inhibitor. Then 0.8% liquid disinfectant produced on site and an Aquazorb. But that says used seasonally for taste and odor issues. But, I don't know how much it would cost on a mass scale to do a better water filtration system, but it would be nice if you would do a better filtration system before you buy more fire extinguishers or fire trucks or fire engines, whatever.
Or police cars, or
Well, could you hand out fire extinguishers to every house for less than the price of even the cheap fire truck?
well, sure, but I mean that's not going to put out your major fires.
I didn't say it was going to put out your major fires, but it could be. Yeah, the gun argument on a lot of things could be. I was watching somebody Friday on there, and it was pretty funny the arguments they were having with that guy. And they're like, he's talking about guns and not why you shouldn't have them. He's like, you don't wait till your house is on fire to go get a fire extinguisher. You know, it's a good argument. I know. I've heard it in the past. You have the fire extinguisher just in case the house catches on fire. So, what you trying to do there, Spoon?
Trying to make
Come
that
on.
trying to make that email come through so I can show the picture.
Oh, the picture.
Yeah. Because
Well, you're the one. You're the one with all the adding power. I can't add or remove anything, Mister Host.
because I think personally, like adding more police officers and police cars is the furthest from what we need. That those things can wait when you're 20 plus years behind on your sewer system at the least, and probably 30 or 40 years behind on your water system that circulates how many thousands of people. And you're already having to borrow water from a neighboring city, and you're trying to borrow more from them. That way you can make sure you can supply your population. And here's the thing: if you cannot secure those extra thousands of gallons of water from your neighboring city, and you don't fix your water problem now, what's going to happen when the drought happens? And I'm talking about a real drought, not just a few weeks. What happens when we have a major drought? And this is what I'm gonna get at. Right, this is what I wanted to show you right here. This is just one day. All right.
Well, there it is.
See?
This is what I heard. Oh yeah, I remember that.
All right. This is just one day. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because there's the chief's car, and then a detective's car over here. So you had 6 police cars or 5 police cars, the chief's car, a detective car. That was just around back. There was more around front. So you had they tell you we need more police and we need more equipment. We need more of this. And this is this one picture that I'm showing you. You can do this multiple times a week. They have the whole shift along with the chief having breakfast or lunch all at the same place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you need more police. You need more
Maybe
equipment. That's a waste. That's a very, very big waste of tax dollars.
This is what I heard about from a buddy of mine. Public water supply approved fluoridated Tennessee Department of Health and Environment. What I heard about from my buddy Friday night was he said Tennessee law requires this sign to be put up somewheres if the water supply has fluoride in it. He said in his town down in Lawrence County, it's on a little no-name road heading outside of town. They like hide it. They don't want you to see it.
Right.
Could you imagine if they put it right there in front of MapCode? Or better yet, stick it right there in front of Dunkin' Donuts and see how many people stop and drink the coffee.
Well, we need to research that law and see if it's true. If it's true,
he said that Tennessee does, and it'll be somewheres in Portland that they add fluoride, but you've got to find the sign. It's like an Easter egg. I'm sure somebody here has seen it, but like, do you want to go to the Chinese restaurant in town and buy the rice knowing that, well, it was cooked in fluorinated water and it soaked up all that fluoride and now you're eating it?
No, I'm rethinking my daily tea to stop again.
Oh, yes, Sonic. I told you. Well, you were the one the other night. We had the argument Friday night when we said we were going to talk about this. You said, "Well, we boil the water." I was like, "No, that doesn't remove it. The water coming off of your boiling pot is the pure water. That's the one you should be drinking and cooking with."
Well, that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to boil it and catch all the steam that's coming off.
Well, you're gonna have to get you a still in there and distill it. But
You
no,
you you want to do some talking or something? Hey, you're being awful loud. You want to be a part of this? Come here. Yeah, come here.
Oh boy,
My 6-year-old over here
she's got
aggravating the
You need to
dog.
drink. You need to drink some nail polish remover so she can have a clear palette so she can paint on.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Go chug it. But I don't know.
So we need to research that and make sure that we can find that law. And if it is a law and they don't have it, how about we'll just get our own signs printed up and we'll go stick them in the ground.
Yeah, well, they'd be mad about that. Imagine renting the electric sign that says if you eat or drink beverages from restaurants in this town, it's the water supply is fluorinated. So
We'll say poison because that's what it is.
well, we can't. I wouldn't. You can't say that. I don't think. But
Well, why not? Where's the picture at?
the picture. Oh, well, I mean, we don't need to talk about the picture.
We
Nothing to
don't.
see here. Nothing to see here. Move along.
What does that say? Danger poison. Avoid contact with skins, eyes, mouth, and clothing. Avoid breathing fumes or vapor. Do not take internally. Poison. So, would that be a false statement saying
You
the
could
city?
put that. You could put that up on the sign and say this is added to the public water supply.
Yeah.
Your beverages and food may contain this product. That would be a true statement. If you live in the city, you may bathe in that product. So, yeah, but we're they'll just say I'm a tinfoil hat person. These days, the people who have their tinfoil hats and were prepping are looking like prophets. So keep on
Well,
making fun of the people who are correct.
well, the people that keep researching and thinking and all that are the intelligent ones, because the dumb ones
Are
they
drinking
think
the flora.
they think they got it all figured out, right?
Oh
Everything.
yeah.
So I guess I'll continue to be the full hat guy, the conspiracy theorist, the extremist.
Hey, today they're looking more and more like prophets. Everyone's starting to see it in their own life, and it's hard to avoid. You're like, I, shut up. I want to watch more TikTok.
Well,
Kind of what's going on, isn't it?
me more than you, I've pissed quite a few people off in this town just strictly by telling the truth and stating facts, right?
We've requested. I mean, I did it. Lots of files. I'm going to peruse through them. I'd like to see.
Well, I'm still waiting on my files that I won't get till July 22nd because I got to wait 3 months to get them. I don't whether that's
I'm going after all the aldermen's files, the current aldermen's, past aldermen. I don't know too many people who were past aldermen, honestly.
I do. We ought to pull the past mayor too. That 13-year reign
Problem.
was a big damper on our city. Come here, come around here.
You ready to go to bed? I know. I'm about ready. I don't have too much to talk about this week.
I got somebody gonna take over for me.
No, don't do that. I'm ready to go. I'm like, you woke me up, man, and I know you're ready for bed.
Yeah, I'm tired.
You said you was tired. I want to get going, and my computer screwed up on me.
So, I mean, all I can tell people is do your own research. I mean, we're doing it for you, but
we'll show you what we find at least. But
and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, they don't care.
No.
As long as they got their Starbucks coffee and they're wearing their Nikes and watching the TikTok on their iPhones, they don't give a shit if they're going to be employees or not, because they got it all figured out.
Yeah. Well, no, I guess we'll see y'all next week. Afternoon show or something. I don't know. It'll be afternoon or evening
or night.
Yeah, something. So, all right. Well,
yeah. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yeah.
Or watching it after a while. See you,
next week.
Puddin'.
No, later, Spoon.